What's up, everybody? Welcome to the MechaWill post-show discussion of the PlayStation 5 event that just happened on September 16th. We just finished it. It's fresh in the brain. And, is my first thought and general disposition on it. What I'm going to do here is basically go through a list. Pay no attention to that. A list of some of the things that we saw and kind of go over our thoughts and stuff. So why don't I open the episode here with my general thoughts on the conference. We talked a lot through the conference. Of course, you can check that out in a previous video on YouTube if you want. We're streaming on twitch.tv/MechaWill. You can always join us there. And there was a lot of stuff shown. I had some predictions. Some of them came true. Some of them did not. What people have been screaming about for a while: Final Fantasy 16, Demon Souls gameplay, God of War teaser. Which, by the way, what? Are you kidding me? Anyway, that came out, that happened, and that was really cool. They did a cool sizzle reel at the start. They just like reminding people about what's going on. When they did that, I kind of assumed that there wasn't going to be too much new in the conference, and I was kind of half right. And we'll go over some of those things as we saw them. But overall, I enjoyed it. I love the length. I like that it's short. 40-50 minutes is like so digestible. There was no talking heads at all, really, except for at the end and a few in between, like maybe two. And it just, everything was brief. They kept to the format of their older E3 conference, which was really cool. So let's see here. Let's go back here. Cool. The cool thing about all this stuff was, for me, that they took what they showed at the original conference, and then they basically showed that again, but with actual gameplay. So they opened up the conference here. Let's see if I can go to my reference. It looks like with a little bit of a sizzle reel, including Astro's Playroom, Demon Souls. This is from the 12th of June. This is the wrong link. Go to some fresh news here. They showed all the stuff they showed at the previous console. Hold up here. Content. Anyway. There we go. Continue with ad blocker, please. They always try to get you. Showed a little sizzle reel, and they opened up with one of the largest titles that people were missing at the other showcase, which was Final Fantasy 16. It looked very cool. It looked like they kept the combat system from Final Fantasy 15. It looked like, which is a plus to me. The design of everything was, I mean, it's traditional Final Fantasy, which is like, what the heck is the storyline? I don't have time to play 20 games to figure it out. And also, there was like, dragons and fairies and explosions and monsters and whatever. It's a huge game, though, and at the end, they dropped the bombshell for me, which was that it's a console exclusive to PlayStation. Now, sometimes they say that stuff and it's timed, but generally when they put it in terms like that, with not a lot of asterisks, not a lot of additional content, that means Final Fantasy 16 is going to stay on the PlayStation 5, and then maybe come to PC, or, probably still come to PC because of the console, maybe even right away, but not come up to Xbox for a year or never. I'm going to assume a year or longer because, I don't know, big titles like that, generally, they don't like leaving money on the table. But part of the agreement is you just got to say, make it ambiguous. And they love doing that kind of crap. So we've got some commenters in the chat here. If you guys had any thoughts about Final Fantasy 16, this article from Tech Radar says that the game will return to its more medieval overtones that we saw in Final Fantasy 9 about 20 years ago. The combat looks like a combination of real-time from Final Fantasy 15 and the even more recent Final Fantasy 7 remake, which kind of mixed the real-time, stop-time combat. We don't expect to see it soon. We didn't see a release date for it, but we'll be anxiously awaiting it, which is cool. After that, we went into Hogwarts Legacy. That doesn't seem like that happened next, but if it did, hey, we're going to talk about it. Bloodbane says he doesn't like Final Fantasy. Well, Final Fantasy doesn't like you then. I am also not, I haven't played a huge amount of Final Fantasy, but it's just dense. It's dense. It's like reading Tolkien. It's like, I know this shit's good. You know that those books are full of some good stuff, and there's a massive fan base, but it's a lot to get through. That being said, I love reading Tolkien stuff, so maybe one day I should start actually playing through the Final Fantasies. But they're basically, I mean, they're like the largest, most epic games that I played Final Fantasy 15, which is really cool. I'm excited for it. The Hogwarts game threw me off guard here. Hogwarts Legacy, we had some leaks 2 years back of this, 1 or 2 years back of this cool Harry Potter RPG. It was clearly like beta footage or alpha footage where you could just see like it was like an RPG. You were walking around as like a wizard, you were blasting stuff. And so anyways, I started blasting and like it looked very cool. And they showed off an official look at it and it just looks awesome. It looks like it's from Avalanche Studios. It looks like they've got destructibility in the environments. They've got the RPG element down. You can visit all the classic locations that you know from the Harry Potter series, or most of them. You saw Hogwarts, obviously, in the Grand Hall and stuff like that. So I am excited to play that one. For sure, that's on my list. I don't think they gave a date for that one either, which is wild to me. Oh, they did. Okay, it says the game is due out in 2021. Expect to hear more about it soon. Again, from the Tech Radar article, they say one of the biggest surprises was Hogwarts Legacy, which is an action game, I would say, with the RPG element. But the cool thing is, yeah, it was set in the 1800s, well before kind of the novels, well before any of the people that you know. I bet that gives them creative license to do a lot of stuff they probably weren't able to. There's dragons in it, stuff like that, and it looks like you can make a custom character with it too. So, I mean, basically, all of the Harry Potter fans are just absolutely exploding with joy. So that's great for them, and I think that's going to be really cool when that comes out. 2021. They've been working on that for a long time. A long time. Where's my evidence? I don't know. Just go read 4chan. It's out there. Let's see. They've added a couple of those games. They showed off Call of Duty Black Ops. When they got to this part of the showcase, it kind of got a little stagnant for me. I know a lot of people love Call of Duty. I know they have their sponsorships. It's got PlayStation exclusive content. But it just showed up a little bit of the campaign, and it's the same stuff. And people shoot things, and they exploded. There was a little mini car, and that was cool. And the sponsorship with Call of Duty, which in the 360 era was an Xbox thing, has obviously pushed some PlayStations for Sony. So they're keen on keeping that going. It's releasing on the 13th, which is one day after the console release itself, which we now know, and we'll get to by the end of the showcase here. They showed off Deathloop again, which was cool. Deathloop is that game where you're playing rival assassins. You're trying to kill as many of the targets as you can in a single loop. It's got a puzzle aspect to it, and it's cool enough. I just wish it got pushed back recently. I wish that I don't know. I kind of wish we'd stop seeing trailers for it. Mostly because I think at this point we all understand the game. Every time they do the trailers, they do them in the same way. They keep the same sounds and tones, the same kind of narrative voiceover, the same kind of pause breaks, and the same kind of kind of music, action-y music and stuff. And it's like, I just feel like I've seen it before. While they did add new information, they showed you how to take down some targets and stuff. I've seen it. I like it. I've seen it. You can serve it to me. I'll eat it. I can't tell you if I'm going to clean the plate, but give it to me and we'll talk about it. I know one of our frequent chatters here on Twitch is a big fan of Deathloop and seeing that. And so I did see some excitement in my chat about that, which is cool. And I'm excited as well. I get it. It's like Dishonored, but you're Assassin's Creeding it. The coolest thing for me, they showed off Devil May Cry. They showed off a couple of other things. Sort of re-showed off a couple of other things like Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry is a special edition of Devil May Cry 5 that I think they're bringing to PlayStation 5. Should be available soon. And all of that. Let's see if they added anything else to this list. Oh, yeah, we should probably talk about Spider-Man, huh? We'll get to Spider-Man, we'll talk about Demon Souls, and we'll talk about the end of the showcase. He's talking about me. That's correct. Oh, yeah. Smile. You guys are on Candid Camera, also known as the YouTube. Definitely. So, yeah. I mean, the biggest standout game. Hello. Simmer down over there. We're going to need some some area and age appropriate text coming out of you two. Just saying. The standout franchise, I guess I should say, for PlayStation 5 right now is obviously the licensed Marvel Spider-Man content. It's the exclusive that like sold the most in the first 3 days and the most in the first launch month and blah 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 blah. It's hit record sales, and they showed off Miles Morales, which to me looked like more of the same, and I think that's a great thing. I think they didn't mess with the formula. They showed off a little bit of the campaign and the mechanics, and it looks like exactly the same engine, but shinier, new locations, new abilities, and just being able to kind of relive that magic of Spider-Man PS4 is going to be really cool. And since it's exclusive to PlayStation 5, it's a big deal that they've got that going on, and a really big deal that they're going to be pushing that at launch, which is insane. I want to say at launch, they've set holiday, so I don't know if it'll come out in November or maybe possibly in December, but it's got to be somewhere around there, right? The holidays isn't after January, right? They wouldn't do me dirty like that. That was very cool. They showed off some Oddworld, a lot more of Oddworld. If you're an Oddworld fan, get it, Yun, is basically my thought about it. I mean, it looks really polished. It looks, a new Oddworld game is a huge deal. And they showed off some of that kind of Lemmings gameplay. And I thought it was really funny that in the first showcase that they had a couple of months ago, they talked about how hilarious the game was. And then the trailer was just this like slaughterhouse of like dark, depressing content, people like tearing their mouths open and crap like that. And then they were like, and the game's hilarious. We'll see it when it comes out. And I didn't paint the picture for me, let's say. And this time they showed a little bit of that humor added into it, which I think is cool, and it should be nice for the fans of that. Not a lot on Ratchet and Clank, which was interesting that we didn't see that. I guess they showed us gameplay, as much of the gameplay as they wanted already, and they didn't show us any new release dates for it either, which is interesting. And also nothing on Returnal, which was also curious to me. I get the feeling that with the games they didn't show the gameplay for, that they are a next year thing, which is fine. Sony's going to pad out their lineup a little bit. We're probably looking at, and it's crazy to me that they didn't show off more dates. We're probably looking at a Spider-Man Holiday 2020, a Demon's Souls maybe in March, a Ratchet and Clank maybe in the summer, and Returnal maybe as the big holiday, one of their big holiday games next year. That would be, of course, not talking about one of the largest reveals of the showcase. I wish I was going in order, but I'm not. God of War 2. They showed off a short little teaser trailer. It was very cool, chilling, gripping. Basically played the big man score where you got the, like I said, like the 200-pound gentleman's going, oh, and it's like, you know, okay, Skyrim, thank you for making a return. And it was very cool. I love the way that they did it originally with the first game, where they had this actual like live orchestra bring it out on this massive showcase. But basically, you can flip the middle finger to Corona and move on with your life for that. I'm excited for it. They mentioned it's coming out next year, so that's got to be their big holiday game. Maybe alongside Returnal. Maybe Returnal's the fall game. Maybe Returnal's 2022. I don't know. There's lots of options there. But I think what they've shown us basically is that they've got a bunch of big first-party titles, and this conference reiterated on that they can really space out and have kind of one pop out every couple of months if they've timed it right. And that was something that really punched Xbox in the gut. I was going to say like in what, like Stadia and Ouya in the gut. This last year and the last sort of generation was basically every year, every quarter almost, every, you know, at least twice a year, they had big exclusives coming out. And it's a good thing for everybody. It's good content. What can I say? What I'd like to ask you guys on YouTube, of course, if you're watching this and enjoying it, first of all, thank you. Second of all, what have you been playing yourselves? What are you looking forward to most from this conference? Is there any cool games that you saw you would have liked to hear more about? I saw the Resident Evil trailer, and it left me kind of wanting more, in not a good way, in the sense that I saw that trailer already. There's a couple of new things, but I wanted to see VR. I wanted to see you know, a revelation of gameplay, and it looks cool and everything. But I think it was just more of a, hey, remember we've got this coming out. And to that I say, yeah, I do remember that because we saw it not that long ago. But it's cool for the people that forgot, I guess, that's where they are. Nice. How does nobody have an article yet up? Okay. Well, let me talk about my my favorite game of the show. We can do a little wrap up, and that'll be good. For me, standout of the show was Demon Souls, and that was a awesome showcase of the gameplay that we hadn't seen since the title reveal, basically, or the CG reveal from the last showcase. And that to me is, it means so much for the PlayStation brand to be able to have a Souls game exclusive to the system. I think people underestimate how much good, not in necessary, I mean, console sales, yes, game sales, but like just in terms of market mind share, having an exclusive Souls game with Bloodborne did for the PlayStation. Every time, especially because it came out so early, every time you'd go to the forums and you'd see people talking about, okay, who's got the best games, what's going on, y'all like this Rice Son of Rome, you like blah, 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 or whatever. It's kind of the indefensible thing of like, it's a good game. You know this is a good game. This is the top-notch, created a generation of new games. It might be the most important thing to RPGs since Zelda. You know, it's a huge style of game, and you just can't play it anywhere else. You can do some like PS Now on PC thing with Bloodborne, but you just can't play it anywhere else. And that's such a huge deal for marketing a system. And they know that. Demon Souls is even more niche than something like Bloodborne, which is crazy because Bloodborne's a new IP. But even as an established IP, Demon Souls is the game that basically nobody's played except for, you know, the hardcore Dark Souls gamer. We will be playing some of it on this channel, but all I can say is, looking at the footage, Bluepoint has just done this incredible job, again, of staying so true to the way that it looks, like it feels and looks. They mess with the art and the design a little bit. I know that's going to piss some people off with, you know, lighting in certain areas and atmosphere being a big part of the game, but they've just done such a good job, for me, of making something that just looks modern and next gen, but is not like, you know, Willy Wonka's version of Demon Souls. You know what I'm saying? So that, to me, that's my game of the show. I'm so excited for that. I know that's not everybody's game of the show, but for me, if they made a PS5 Demon Souls console, I will jump out a window and throw my wallet to the wind and let the birds carry me to, you know, the palace of Sony. Right away. No questions. Anyway, at the end of the day, what they showed with the conference was basically all of their big titles, really kept it to AAA, big titles, no indies showcased. You ran out of Cheez-Its. That's incredibly concerning. It's time to hit that Amazon Prime subscription. Go to Amazon Prime now. Order yourself some Cheez-Its. They'll get there in about 2 hours if you pick the right delivery option. That's my hot tip for you today. Anyway, what I was saying was, it was a showcase of AAA games. They really didn't want any of the indies in there. There's always blowback when there's indies in a conference. Doesn't matter how good they look. I hate it. I hate that's the way people are, but like, they see these lower budget games and they're like, wow, that system's trash. It's not good for the marketing. It's not good for the discussion. It just hasn't gone over well. And you even see people talking about that with the earlier conference, which I thought was incredibly strong. When they showed off these games for the first time, it had indies in there, and that's the number one thing. People were like, it had trash games in it, so it was a bad showcase. And so I think they just siphoned it out, cut down the length, kept AAA going. There's basically not a lot to argue with the conference, except for, I wish there were more dates, and I wish we saw, I don't know, I wish there was sort of more fresh content for some of the stuff that they re-showed, although they did show like more gameplay footage and stuff like that. All in all, I'm excited for it. We're going to end today by talking about the big thing that happened at the showcase, which is, of course, what we predicted earlier, the pricing for the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. I'd like to ask you guys, of course, at the end of this segment here, how many of you guys are going to be buying a PlayStation 5? How many of you guys are going to be buying a PlayStation 5 digital edition? And how many of you guys are saying, nah, that's not for me, Poppy. I'm going to go with the Xbox, or I'm going to play my games on PC, or what the heck is gaming? You guys are nerds. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to go buy a motorcycle or something. That's cool for you. You want to do that? That's fine. Be Butch Cassidy, ride off into the sunset, okay? Not around my PlayStation. Anyway, PlayStation 5 came out with a $499.99 price tag, which is, to me, the highest they could have gone without pissing people off, which, if you saw my pre-show, if you saw my reaction video, that's exactly what it had to be, because they got to make money. And the cost of production on this stuff obviously goes up, and we're in a little bit of a RAM crisis, and there's other parts that are more expensive than they've been, inflation, yada yada. Also, worldwide pandemic. They're probably not be making any money, or if they are making money, like $20 per unit or something silly like that, by releasing it at this price range. But it's basically where they had to be. Xbox came out, and let's paint the picture right now. You got the Xbox Series X, $499. Some people say it's the most powerful console because it has better GPU specs, and slightly better, although sort of even CPU specs. A portion of their RAM is faster, a portion of their RAM is slower. So it's they had to at least match the price, if not go lower. $499 was a good option. And Xbox also has two options too. They've got the Xbox Series S, made for 1080p gaming. That means no 4K output. They drastically reduced the GPU's power on that console, and they're going to release that for $299. That is a dirty blow to the Sony shareholders, I'm sure, because it means that whenever people go into stores and they look for the cheapest next-gen console that they could possibly buy, it's not a PlayStation anymore. It is the Xbox Series S for $299. What I think that is a big win for consumers, people that can't afford this stuff, people that really want to get into next-gen but don't even have a 4K TV. It's cool. It's really cool. What I would recommend is try and save up for the bigger priced thing, even if it's on Xbox, because that 1080p console is not going to last this generation. It's not going to be able to keep up. There's going to be problems. It's got stunted RAM and stuff too. And so I'm kind of worried about people that buy that not being able to play, or having really poor parity issues as the generation goes along. So PlayStation's answer to that is their PlayStation All Digital Edition. It's exactly the same power as a PS5, but launches for $399. That is going to be the ticket, I think, for most people. It's a great mid-range console that's in between the $499, the $299, but it doesn't sacrifice any of the power of the original PlayStation 5, which is cool. My man, Mr. Cheese Napier, says he's going to be buying the digital. He doesn't have any money, but he wants the PlayStation exclusive, so $399 is as low as you can get, and that's a really smart move for Sony, and I'll tell you why. Everybody said it time and time again, but by removing the disc, you no longer have the option to buy games from anybody else except for Sony and their PlayStation ecosystem. That makes them a lot more money per game that you buy. So while the disc drive might only be worth $50 to them, they can lower the price of the unit by $100, $499 to $399, because they know that you're going to be buying every game straight from them. Even if you pick up one game, it might be the equivalent of picking up 4 games at a different place. So they make a lot more money off of it, and I think that's why they took that extra cut. Could they have gone lower? I think they would have died in terms of eating costs if they went lower, but it would have been nice to see it around $3, but they don't do $49.90. You know what I'm saying? So they would have had to go to $299, and that just seems like, I'm sure the cost of production on this is pretty high. So what are your thoughts in the comments of the showcase? I hope you guys liked the breakdown of it. I hope you guys liked the different games. If I missed one because there wasn't a comprehensive list up, sorry to hear that. I wish I would have seen some cool new exclusives like SOCOM, or a cool Silent Hill exclusive. But I saw a lot to make me happy about buying a PlayStation in the next year or so. And pre-order should be going up soon. Another thing I didn't see was a pre-order bonus, but I thought that was really cool. And also, before we leave, they added this really cool thing on the PlayStation Plus, which allows you to play a bunch of their first-party titles. I think that is a smart move, considering Xbox's big Game Pass sort of victories they've had. So there's a lot to look forward to. If you guys want to talk in the comments about it, that'd be nice. It's been my first time back in a while, so trying to shake off the narrative dust, as I said. And if you want to see these showcases or me playing these games live, I'm playing a lot of cool PlayStation games coming up, like Ghost of Tsushima, on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MechaWill. You can see it at the bottom. No? Oh, you can see my YouTube at the bottom. Anyway, it's all the same. I'll be checking in and playing some more games and stuff. And if there's any more showcases, I don't think there will be. You can, of course, catch them live or on YouTube at bit.ly/MechaWill. Thanks for joining me today for the showcase. And I will get back to you guys and hopefully stream this week as stuff is sort of still getting worked out. But otherwise, I'll see you guys later. And yeah. Subscribe. Do all that stuff. Adios.